A quadruple header last night on a Thursday night slate around the association, but we start with some big NBA news. Injury concern for the reigning NBA MVP, Joel Embiid, who earlier this week in Golden State against the Warriors went down with a left knee injury. The Sixers are calling it an injured lateral meniscus in his left knee, and he will be out at least through this weekend while a treatment plan is finalized. Virtually, Donnie, as you read between the tea leaves there, they're not entirely sure what the timetable looks like at this moment for Embiid's return to the floor. They will finalize that course, how long he will be out, knowing the All-Star break is only about 3.5 weeks away as well.
And also trying to read into between what the Sixers are saying and what that timeline is going to be. If I had to guess right now, Joel Embiid is going to be back this season and be ready for the playoffs. But that doesn't mean you're getting MVP fully healthy. I'm going to dominate out here, Joel Embiid. He just might be out there and saying, all right, I'll give you what I can and I'll lumber up and down the floor. Because the one thing we do know about Joel Embiid, which again is a lot like a lot of larger athletes, we're not talking about a 6'3" guard, like, okay, let me bounce back from this injury. The reason why big men don't usually last as long as guards is because that body takes a beating just running up and down the court and the physical pounding you take typically in the low post. So if I'm going to get Joel Embiid back, is it with a big bulky knee brace and he'll give you what he can? And is that what the Sixers want? Because it's not as if it's now or never for the Sixers where anything we get out of Embiid will help us because we already have the best team in the NBA. Like, no, your run to success, Ben, in the playoffs is going to be how good Joel Embiid can actually be, dropping 35 and 13 every single night to give you a chance. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that, but I actually would be surprised. And again, not being a doctor, if this was in 2 days we hear Joel Embiid shut down for the season, see you again next year. I think they're going to do the most they can with the rehab and maybe do a little bit of tinkering in there with the knee as opposed to a complete rehab of that knee, and he'll be back. Well, again, as a Sixers fan, I know how this ends. They'll win their first round. They'll be out in the second round. We'll worry about the next season. Can Joel Embiid stay injury-free, which he never does?
Yeah, and listen, that's been a story for Joel Embiid. You look back on the playoff run a season ago, hand injuries that led to discomfort that really hindered the postseason appearance for Philadelphia. This, a left knee injury. We will see how significant, how serious it is, and what the timeline looks like for Embiid's return to the floor. Of course, Joel Embiid's NBA career has been maligned by injuries. It got off to a very rocky start as he had foot surgery before he even entered the NBA, missing the first 2 seasons of his NBA career. Of course, we hope Joel Embiid is back, but Donnie, the reason he's not listed on the MVP odds any longer is because he is more than likely going to miss at least 5 more games, which would put him outside of the 65-game minimum for award consideration in the association this year. Nikola Jokic remains the odds-on favorite at -140 to win the NBA MVP. Just 4 games last night in the NBA, but one was a historic rivalry that we thought entering in Boston would be great, and LeBron James against Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the crew in Boston. Nope. No AD, no LeBron. Balloons to a 15-point spread in favor of the Celtics, but you would believe that LeBron went off for 50 and AD put in 30 and 15 when you look at the final score. The Lakers hand Boston just their 3rd home defeat of this season. They are now 22-3 inside TD Garden as the Lakers, led by Austin Reeves, win outright as a 15-point road underdog in Beantown, 114-105.
Yeah, we handicapped this game yesterday, and I like the Lakers getting the 11.5 under the guys that LeBron James and Anthony Davis would be out there, and you're going to be able to party, and you're going to say, you know what, I'll keep it close, but we won't win this basketball game. But also, part of the handicap came in where I know how good the Boston Celtics are. I know how good the Boston Celtics are at home, but something is a little bit amiss there in the past couple weeks for the Celtics at home, taking a couple losses, which they didn't have any coming up to that certain point, and getting into some close games. And I figured, look, the Lakers are going to give it their best effort here. Why? Because they have to. They're going to be a team here that's looking at being under 500 roughly heading into the All-Star break. That's not going to be good enough. So you rested a couple guys, you got them ready for this game, and LeBron and AD would be ready to go. And then you see, you know what? Neither one of these guys are going to play. And I said to myself, you know what? That's actually the sign of a smart thinking basketball team that goes, Why am I going to play LeBron 38 minutes, Anthony Davis 41 minutes in this game, and still lose here? Why don't we just take this night off, keep the guys rested, we'll take the loss that is going to be automatic anyway, and we'll be better for it before the All-Star break and get some guys some extra rest here and maybe pick up a victory that we know we can get down the line. The fact that they went out in that basketball game and beat the Celtics on their home court without AD and without having LeBron James, that's amazing. It only goes to show you where the human mentality of, hold on, AD's not playing, LeBron's not playing. Roll that basketball out here. Let's just take the Lakers for granted and knock them around. And it didn't happen.
That had to have been the mentality for Joe Mazzulla's Boston team. All right, no AD, no LeBron. Let's get a 15-point win. Let's get out of here. Make this pretty quick and easy. We'll improve to 23-2 inside our own home arena this year. That did not happen. In fact, 2 of those 3 home losses in Beantown for the C's have happened in the last 5 days and against 2 LA teams. Saturday night against the Clippers. Last night, of course, against the shorthanded Lakers led by Austin Reeves, who had 7 threes made, finished with 32 points for a game high. The Lakers now 10-11 against the spread as an underdog, 7 outright victories in those 10 covers. Boston has been booked as a favorite in all 25 home games this year, now just 13-12 ATS. A big one for LA, just in terms of the overall record. LeBron James, Anthony Davis or not, and even 500, 50 games already played for the Lake Show. It's a 25-25 straight up record. Hottest team in the association, winners of 9 in a row. That would be the New York Knicks. The Knicks at home last night inside Madison Square Garden edge out the Indiana Pacers 109-105. New York closed as a 3-point home favorite. They cover as a 3-point home favorite. They are one of the best cover teams in the NBA as a favorite this year. Now 21-9 against the spread. And the man on your screen, named an all-star reserve yesterday, Jalen Brunson, goes off for a 40-point performance inside the Mecca. The Knicks were actually down by 8 very early on in the fourth and final quarter. They rally for a 4-point win, 109-105.
It's unbelievable. And I thought right away in the first quarter, Indiana 36-26. So it's a 10-point lead after quarter number 1 for Indiana. I thought they were going to be away, and here they go. Because why? You have a team that likes to get up-tempo. You have a team in the New York Knicks that's playing a lot of bench players, massive minutes here, and you should be able to tire them out. And it didn't happen here. You saw the final 3 quarters of that game. The Knicks won the second quarter, third quarter, and the fourth quarter to come away with that 109-105 victory. And yesterday early when we were handicapping it, that number was 3.5. So you know what? I'll take the Pacers in this game. I think it's going to be right. And this also included with me thinking OG Anunoby was going to be back into that lineup for the Knicks, and he didn't play last night. And you did see Siakam in the lineup and Halliburton in the lineup for the Pacers. I don't know what's cooking up there in the Garden, but it smells good right now, Ben.
I'll tell you what's cooking. Tom Thibodeau, you mentioned their resilience in the final 3 quarters. Last night's total, any game that features the Pacers is going to have a lofty number, 236. Stays well under as the New York Knicks commanded that second half and the fourth quarter. Defense and effort wins the day for New York. It has led to 9 straight wins. That was February 1st, their first game, of course, of this new month after a 14-2 January. First opening win in February. That's 15 of the last 17 in 2024 for the New York Knicks, and they have covered in 14 of those 15 wins. In 15 of the 17 games in this new calendar year have stayed under. Again, that is Tibbs basketball on full display. Jalen Brunson, an all-star snub a season ago. He was named a reserve yesterday. He pays it off with 40 big ones last night inside Madison Square Garden. So the New York Knicks right now, Donnie, third best record in the Eastern Conference, 32-17. Just behind them by a half game, the Cleveland Cavaliers, fourth best record out east, 30-16. Cleveland picks up win number 30 of the year last night on the road in the Grind City as they get a victory over the Grizzlies. Final score 108-101. Cleveland does not cover as an 8-point road favorite. And Donnie, although Memphis is without Ja Morant and without Marcus Smart and without Desmond Bane, they have now covered in 6 straight games. Keep an eye on the Grizzlies, not to make any noise, but at least to maybe cover you some numbers here in the second half of this NBA season.
Yeah, the Grizz not a very good home team overall by checking the record, which is crazy. They used to have one of the better home court advantages in basketball, now sitting at 5-17 overall after this loss. They actually had a lead at the half against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But yeah, it's one of those dead teams right now that are just waiting for some superstar players to come back. But to flip it back on Cleveland real quick, look, sometimes you get a shot in the arm now. The Philadelphia 76ers might be without the MVP. That was one of those teams you were probably going to jockey for positioning into the playoffs where maybe you could get the third, fourth, and fifth seed. The Sixers are probably going to drop back if Embiid is out for weeks at a time, and you can certainly seize the day here and move up those standings in the Eastern Conference.
The Cavs had won 7 straight. Now they've won 4 in a row. They've been playing really good basketball here as of late. As we said, no Joel Embiid for Philadelphia last night in Salt Lake. When I was making my notes around 5:30, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Tyrese Maxey did not have any props listed. He returned after missing 4 consecutive games and returned in a big way out in Utah. A 51-point output from Tyrese Maxey as the Sixers win outright as a 4.5-point underdog, 127-124.
That's a good sign here. The secondary option stepping up in a big way for the Sixers yesterday, handicapping this game. I just said it wasn't really a handicap. I'll go contrarian and take the Philadelphia 76ers with the points. They go out and win outright. It's getting some terrible news on Joel Embiid. At least you got a W in the process.